Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, I am going to bring you this story and you can tell me in the comment section whether you believe it or not. So with that guys, I bring you this: why Shehu Musa was arrested. And this is a comment by EFCC. So Shehu Musa, the senator from Kaduna State, is who we are talking about. So again, the headline: why Shehu Musa was arrested, and the headline credited to EFCC. So now let's find out exactly what has happened here. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, said on Tuesday its operatives arrested a former senator representing Kaduna Central, Shehu Musa, over his alleged involvement in extortion, name-dropping, and financial crimes. The commission confirmed that Sani was arrested because of complaints by the owner of a car company, ASD Motors, Alhaji Sani Dauda, over his activities. The former lawmaker allegedly collected $10,000 from ASD Motors chief on the grounds that he is very close friends with the EFCC chairman Ibrahim Magu, and promised to help him and any other person involved in issues with the EFCC. Based on the complaints, Sani was subsequently arrested but granted administrative bail, whilst the said $10,000 was recovered from him. He was therefore asked to report himself to EFCC but made himself incommunicado. The former senator reportedly told ASD Motor chairman that he discussed his case with EFCC investigators, who claimed that only Magu could resolve the matter. For that reason, he asked the complainant to provide him with an extra $20,000 to pass on to Magu to enable him to resolve the problem with the EFCC. But the complainant claimed he could only provide $10,000 and thereafter wrote a check covering the amount. The check was allegedly presented to Bureau de Change operator, who reportedly gave the $10,000 equivalent to the senator to settle the matter with the EFCC. Senator Sani is expected to spend the new year in EFCC's custody, as the complainant is expected to take up issues with him on Tuesday, January the 2nd, 2020. Besides this, EFCC operatives are quizzing him over the allegations of scamming some other people and allegedly dropping the name of the EFCC boss before suspects who have cases with the commission, a top official said on Tuesday night in Abuja. So as I said, I'm leaving it to you guys to decide if you believe this or not, but this is really a stretch on the imagination. This certainly stretches my imagination. It certainly tasks credulity, because Senator Shehu Sani, of course, is a prominent name within the Nigerian space. He's a virulous and a vocal anti-Buhari person. So now, this type of person now, it is a stretch of the imagination to imagine that this guy will be collecting $10,000 as bribe to speak to Ibrahim Magu on behalf of some car dealer. This is really the allegation that is being leveled against this guy. It's almost tantamount to the allegations that we saw about a year ago against Saraki, that he was sponsoring armed robbery. This is the sort of narrative that goes on within the Nigerian space. They just throw everything and anything at you, and mostly the most ludicrous of things they throw at you whenever you're a critic of this regime. So imagine that Senator Shehu Sani, who is already a wealthy man before he came into the Senate, a wealthy man during his stay in the Senate, and still a wealthy man, having now to go and take $10,000. How much is $10,000? I don't think $10,000 is up to 3 million naira. So now, if we are talking about bribery, is that the sort of bribery that somebody like Senator Shehu Sani, if he were to take bribe at all, which would really disappoint me if he's of that build? And I know that all Nigerian politicians are corrupt, you will say, but he would particularly disappoint me if he was caught in that low-level bribery, or even in any bribery scam. But now the guy is now in EFCC custody, to the point that he's seen out the decade, because of course this is the last day of this decade. He's seen out this decade now in effectively police custody. This is the situation that this guy finds himself in. But then what has led him to that? The allegation that they are making is that he's collecting $10,000, or he collected rather $10,000 from a car dealer, promising to use it to bribe the EFCC chairman in order that cases against the car dealer are dropped. So now this is the allegation. So now look at just that storyline. Firstly, $10,000 cannot be deemed as bribery towards the EFCC chairman. This is somebody that is chasing people that have stolen billions and billions. So you can imagine the sort of money that this guy is being offered. So $10,000 is probably what this EFCC guy spends on lunch. So already the idea that somebody is telling somebody that he wants $10,000 to go and bribe the EFCC chairman, that already stretches credulity, because of course the sums don't match up. $10,000 is what you go and use to bribe the DPO at the police station, I imagine, in Nigeria, but certainly not the chairman of the EFCC. So there's at least a digit missing from that money. Maybe they're saying $100,000, then we might be able to start wrapping our heads around it. But $10,000, but then $10,000 also being requested by this Senator Shehu Sani. So if Senator Shehu Sani is offering to go and bribe the EFCC chairman, and is not doing this out of the goodness of his heart, what is his own commission in that $10,000? Is he going to cut $2,000? So the sums don't match up, for my understanding. So now the reasons why they are detaining this guy, of course, remains shrouded in mystery. But then, of course, as I said, it is your determination to make up your own mind as to whether you are believing this story or not. But believe, of course, that the guy is in custody. But the reasons why he's in custody is yet to be known. The place filler is a bit like they are saying Omoyele Sowore is treasonable felony. You know, all these ridiculous things that we hear within the Nigerian space, that they want to hold you and they cannot even have the imagination to come up with something a bit credible to give as a reason. They just throw any reason that, oh, you were small, you were walking down the road and you were drinking water in a manner that could have choked the person next to you. You know, something ludicrous. You know, they come up with the most ludicrous reasons to hold on to you. And really, that ludicrous example that I just gave about drinking water walking down the road, which is something I just said, is even more credible than the idea of Senator Shehu Sani collecting $10,000 from a car dealer to say that he's going to use it to bribe Ibrahim Magu. Even the car dealer, if he has any brain, if he's the chairman of a car dealership, then he must have some smarts about him. And if he has any smarts about him, then he must have the understanding, surely, that $10,000 is not the sort of money that you will use to bribe somebody like Ibrahim Magu. And if the problem that this guy has, this car dealer, if the problem that he has is a problem that $10,000 can solve, then that is not Ibrahim Magu level within the EFCC organization. The problems that $10,000 can solve are middle to lower level officials within the EFCC structure, because the sort of problems that will require Ibrahim Magu to solve it will be the sort of problems that you'll be parting with millions of dollars, never mind $10,000. So the narrative doesn't hang together for my own understanding. But then, of course, I am a fan of Shehu Sani, so maybe I am prejudiced by that. Maybe that bit clouds my thinking. But then, of course, they have detained him. So they are detaining him now off the back of this reason, because this is the reason that they have given. So now, why this guy has been detained remains to be seen. Of course, we know Femi Falana is already on his way, because I don't know for certain, But of course, Shehu Sani and Femi Falana are friends, and Femi Falana is not the sort that would sit back in his house eating turkey as his friend is being detained in custody, kept away from his family. But as the days unfold, they say he's going to be arraigned on the 2nd, or is going to be presented on the 2nd in some form. So by the 2nd now, which is 2 days away, we will find out more why this guy is being detained. And you know, of course, Senator Shehu Sani is not one that is shy with his opinion, so he will have his say as well. This guy is as vocal as Showore. So they are coming now after all of the critics of this regime, and they are trying to round them all up and lock them away somewhere, or shut their mouth in some form through aggression and repression. Conversations in the comment section. Do you believe it or don't you believe it, or what do you make of it? Senator Shehu Sani has been arrested and is going to break the new year in police custody, in EFCC custody. Come tell me what your thoughts are about all this. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me in particular if you think $10,000 is bribery to Ibrahim Magu, the EFCC chairman, and if the figures in this narrative, the monies especially, if they marry up with the reasons that they are giving for detaining this guy, and anything else that you think. Come, let's have all of this conversation in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, carry on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.